Do-Rag Wisdom here, today I'm wearing my marijuana shirt, my support marijuana shirt, as I am a supporter of marijuana and a user of marijuana, a proud user of marijuana, as a matter of fact. And I believe that if you live in a society like ours, where you have to work and be treated like shit day after day after day, and humiliated by your boss, and, you know, all the crap. And then society has the freaking nerve to tell you what you should get high on. Here, drink all the booze you want, just don't drive. People listen to that, right? I believe, look, if society wants to treat everybody like shit, then let us legally get high, if we're adults, on any goddamn thing we want. Okay? Now, when people start feeling like they're treated like people and not like crap, they will, they may respond, and maybe they won't feel the need to have to quote unquote escape. But this isn't about my love of marijuana and my love of anything that will help liberate us from Puritanism. I mean, I like to see sex work legalized. I mean, gambling is legalized because that's how, it's all about money there. Of course, everything's about money. All right, now, am I in focus? I hope so. Because if I sit all the way back here, I'm going to look like Beetlejuice at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, where he is, his face. See, he took some other dead person's place in line, and the guy, it was a medicine man, and he shrunk Beetlejuice's head. Anyway, I don't want to start yelling and screaming, folks. It's been like 60 so days. We got 18 days until this creep, this traitor, this scum, they're able to really start. The war is already on, and they're going to start it in earnest to screw up everybody, to undo the legacy of Barack Obama, and to make America white again. Okay, so I say we're at war because the way I define war in this basic sense, the Cold War, they're trying to hurt us. The Republican Party is in session now, trying to hurt us. They're trying to throw several million people off of health insurance, which they have no replacement for. And by the way, that Obamacare is really Romney Care, which is really Dole Care. It's a Republican idea which Obama had to compromise, but they didn't accept it because it was from Obama. See, I wanted to scream just then, because we know what this Make America white again, great again. That's what it's about, to make America white again. These old white mother effers cannot stand that we put a black person in as president, and they're making one last stand. I hope it's a Custer's last stand, to bring back the wonderful old days of the Cold War, of nuclear threats, which we always have no matter what, terrorism against black Americans, women having to use coat hangers, and having to put up with people wanting to grab them in their private parts, because, See, here I am starting to raise my voice. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you, as well as myself, all of us, to rise up and protest, because it's all up to us. I swear to you folks, it's all up to us. Because the Democratic Party is crippled, all right? So they're hamstrung to a certain extent. Some of this creep's agenda is going to get through, all right? We have gerrymandering, of course, where Republicans have assured themselves seats for almost, to the next census, which is 3 years from now. There's the Citizens United. It frightens me that the Koch brothers The right-wing scumbag Koch brothers, they make Trump's wealth look like nothing. You don't think they're not behind this whole thing? They want that Trump in there. They want the Republicans in control. They want the extremists in control. Because the Koch brothers have this network. They're the ones that helped found the teabaggers. They're trying to undermine our democracy. They want to see a time when the workers worked and got nothing and then they died. Look up the Koch brothers. I want you to look up the Koch brothers. And the Citizens United thing that's destroying us, that's eating away. So, the Democratic Party are the progressive, powerful progressives all over our country. The parties are crippled. That's why the Democratic Party, out of desperation, brought in Bernie Sanders to be the coordinator of reach out. How about reach around? Because the Democratic Party is contaminated by corporatists, which help to undermine everything, because the message is rich liberals, limousine liberals, corporations. We want the corporations out of our lives. We only want them to serve us, but not themselves. We want them to be regulated. We want them to be taxed. You see, the Trumps, the birther bastards, and the GOP do not want these slime balls to be taxed. They want to cut all these programs out and give us a tax break. I want nothing from the birther bastard. I do not want his tax break. Because the tax break is not for me, it's for his rich friends to take away everything else. And that's another thing. I'm a tax patriot. I believe in doing my fair share to help someone less fortunate than me. Which Trump, ask him how much charity he's given personally in his life, that selfish scumbag. We have a dangerous, I would say, narcissistic psychopath coming into office, who is a lover of Putin, who is a dictator. Imagine if this was the 1940s after Hitler. Do you think Trump would have won an election? No. Coming off as he does? He reminds me of these creeps. You think during the 50s, you think Trump would have won if he saddled up to Russia in the 50s when it was totalitarian communism? Ha! Now that it's totalitarian fascism, the other side, oh, he's kissing Putin's ass. Do you want Putin in your country? Do you want a human rights violating dictator visiting your country, our country? How about that Duarte in the Philippines that's murdered 30,000 people, who called Obama the son of a whore? Do you want him visiting our country? I mean, the first week that this creep was non-elected, I was cursing. This guy denies that there's any like involvement of Russia in our election. I believe that the fact that Russia was involved and what their intention was makes it not the fact that he lost the popular vote. Okay? The fact that he lost, I mean, he didn't get the popular vote, and the fact that 50% of the people in this country didn't vote, and now this whole thing about the foreign power, a dictatorship involved in our election. If this was the 1950s or the 1940s, this asshole would be out of here, boys and girls. His presidency would be illegitimate. It would be null and void. I do not want a dictatorship in my country. I want progressive, liberal democracy in my country. I don't want to go back to the caveman days. I do not want to go back to those ugly, stinking days when you could murder little boys like Emmett Till with impunity. Now, I have many, many reasons why I think that Don Trump and his GOP are traitors. that they're giving aid and comfort to the enemies of our democratic republic, whether in time of war or not. In kind of way, this is a Cold War that Russia's having with us, whether we know it or not. I'm not returning to those days. I'm not going to release my democratic republic into the hands of bastards who've been trying to destroy it for literally years and decades. So, since everything is crippled, ladies and gentlemen, we have to get up and get into that bastard's face. And as Meryl Streep so righteously showed us, getting into his face is effective. He hates it. And let's see what happens if that son of a bitch tries to stifle the free press and tries to stifle free speech and protest, tries to stifle our rights as citizens, our social programs, and tries to bring in creeps, traitors, human rights violators to really undermine us. Do you want Vladimir Putin, piece of shit, to be our president? Well, maybe he already is. And maybe it's time for not only the Democrats, but those scumbag Republicans to stand up too. We have to, because it's all damaged. We have to, the people, we must. Meryl Streep did.